Hey, good morning. Today's another one of our first fives. Today we're looking at Exodus chapter 4. And this story comes in the middle of really Moses' conversation with God. And he's already had the burning bush incident. He's left Egypt. And his life really, in some ways, has been charmed, but also kind of just scary, right? As a baby, he's put in a basket and he's saved by Pharaoh's daughter. He eventually kills a man and flees. I mean, these are kind of interesting stories. And yet God still reaches out to him and calls him. But Moses wrestles with this. And so here's what we see from Exodus chapter 4. Moses answered, "What if they do not believe me or listen to me and say the Lord did not appear to you?" Then the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. The Lord said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. "This," said the Lord, "is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you." Then the Lord said, "Put your hand inside your cloak." So Moses put his hand into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was leprous like snow. "Now put it back into your cloak," he said. So Moses put his hand back into his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, "If they do not believe you or pay attention to the first miraculous sign, they may believe the second. But they do not believe these two signs or listen to you. Take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground." Moses said to the Lord, "O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." The Lord said to him, "Who gave man his mouth? Who makes him deaf or mute? Who gives him sight or makes him blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." But Moses said, "O Lord, please send someone else to do it." Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, "What about your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know he can speak well. He's already on his way to meet you, and his heart will be glad when he sees you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth, and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform miraculous signs with it." Now, what I love about this story is Moses is like many of us. He thinks he's unworthy to do what God's calling him to do, and he's also afraid. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have the sense that God's calling me to something maybe bigger than I am. It's always bigger than I am because I can never do it on my own. And if I can do it on my own, it's probably not big enough. And so that's Moses. He'd rather just tend sheep. He'd rather be out in Midian with his father-in-law Jethro's sheep and be out there rather than doing the thing that God is calling him to, because it's such a big thing. To lead a people from slavery, from oppression to freedom? I'm not your guy, God. You got to find somebody else. And I think this is true for many of us. God is calling us to particular ways of living and particular things, and to help proclaim freedom from oppression, whether it be sinfulness or addiction or whatever else it might be, that God wants to use you and I, and he has called you and I. But often, like Moses, we feel like we are ill-equipped to do what we're called to. And so what if just maybe, what if we are ill-equipped? But what if it is God who equips us? And so here's my challenge for you and I today. We may feel unworthy. We may be unworthy. We may feel like we just can't do this. But if God says we're worthy, and if God says he wants to use us, then God probably can, and God will, if we'll allow him to. And so at the end of the day, Moses, after seeing the miraculous signs, still needed more help, and someone came alongside him, his brother. And so maybe, even today, you need someone to come alongside you. But here is my challenge for you and I today. God can and will equip us. God can and does say we are worthy. And so may you and I live as his unique disciples in this world. May we live as followers of Jesus. And you never know what our stories may be later in life. We might find that he used us in great ways that someone even writes down, and we never planned on it. We never expected it. But maybe our whole lives, he's been allowing things that have shaped us, that we can use those same things that have shaped us to help shape others in greater ways. And so sometimes our baggage, our stories, our past, they may not be good. And it's not that God wanted those things to happen to us, but they may be for us the catalyst in which we can lead others into great change in their lives. So we'll catch you next time. on another First Five.